You can print quilt blocks, block construction, applique, the whole quilt, yardage, and rotary cutting instructions. What will be printed is going to be selected in your options. Click on Print Preview, and with blocks selected, click OK. When you select blocks, this gives you a numbered drawing of how the quilt should be assembled, in addition to what the piece block will look like. You also get actual patterns that you can print for cutting out the block. If I click on Options, I have choices. I can adjust the size and which pages to print. If I only have certain blocks selected in my design and I put a dot by selection, it will only print those blocks. When all is selected, it will print all. When Print Guide is selected, it will print the numbered drawing of how to assemble the quilt. When it's deselected, it will skip that page. Outline Print prints only the outline of the block. Color will actually print the colors and the fabric on the quilt. I can also print block construction. And when I click on Options, I can adjust the seam allowance. The software adds a default seam allowance of 1/4 inch. When I click OK, with block construction, I get a numbered diagram of how to assemble the block and the different block pieces with seam allowances added. We've already talked about how to print applique. Let's look at whole quilt. When I click OK, I get the colored picture of the entire quilt. I can always go into Options and I can choose to not print blocks or applique or embroidery. Yardage will print swatches of the fabric and will give me an estimate of what I will have to buy in order to construct the quilt. When I click on Options, I can change the seam allowances, and I can also alter the width of the fabric. And I can also print rotary cutting instructions. And this will give me the size of the pieces that I will need to cut, as well as a numbered drawing. It also tells me how many of each size I will need. I can also alter the seam allowance of the rotary cut pieces. So you have many different options as far as what to print from your designed quilt.